Hello, and thank you for joining me. Up here I'm going to showcase a bit of a different build. This is the other human adept. Instead, I'll be using Singularity with radius, recharge, and passive damage because I want to be able to throw these out as fast as possible and affect as many enemies as possible to control them. And the passive damage just helps clean up little things that aren't worth using an extra cooldown on. For Warp, I'll be using as my main damage source through the detonations. The force damage and impact radius will stagger just about anything that it hits. Whenever things do get hit by Warp, they then take extra damage, so as I attack things, they'll die even faster. And again, you need to cycle as quickly as possible. The damage looks kind of low, but that's not the point. The point is to get biotic combo detonations. The combo detonations themselves should be dealing somewhere in the market of 900 damage. Mind straining, power damage bonus, decreased weight of weapons to keep cooldown cycling, and increased health because I don't want to be meleeing anything. For weapons, I'm also using the Talon. You can see I've got the power magnifier on here. Pistols and submachine guns are the only ones that actually get to use the power magnifier, and I think that's a pretty handy effect. The Geth scanner is the equipment that I'm using because it lets me see through fog and see enemies that are invisible, things like that. I don't like being surprised or snuck up on, and the Geth scanner helps me avoid that. So let's see how this compares. The Shockwave video should have already been posted, but this one is very similar in most respects. Is this the hazard map? No. I kind of like this position normally because it gives a good angle on everything, but it's a bit crowded, so I'm going to instead over there, and then move into it. And we fight Reapers. Now see, against these husks, I don't even need to detonate, but I will. Alright, they're going. He's trying to do the sprint run, I think, or the sprint carry. There's a trick you can do. It's really annoying for everyone involved, but it allows you to sprint at full speed while carrying the object. Essentially, it forces you to drop it over and over, and then you can just pick it right back up again because there's no cooldown on it. So what you can do is just hold run to get sprinting, and as soon as it drops the object, you just start mashing the spacebar, and you'll pick it up, run a step, and then drop it again. And you can repeat that forever. And thanks, dude, for detonating that combo for me. I can guarantee you his detonation is weaker than mine. But part of the problem with joining puppy games as a combo-oriented build is that puppies don't understand the game very well. They run around a lot, nobody watches sectors, you get flanked all the time if you're not very attentive. And I think it's just that they get bored, haven't shot anything for 2 seconds, so they run around to look for people. When the enemies will always come to you. You don't have to go find them. They'll come to you. I don't know that I want to sprint out there to try and save him. That guy's got a better angle though. So instead, a little bit of covering fire. As you increase the difficulty level, switching from raw power damage to combos becomes more and more important because the combos actually scale with your opponent's damage, and yeah, his warp detonations are much weaker than mine. But there's no way for him to know that. I don't really feel like telling him, because you can't correct people on the internet without them getting really butthurt. You know what I mean? Though, like he's running around for some goddamn reason. There's. Now you see the health of the brute. I was hitting the wrong button apparently, so it didn't cast warp. But if you watch his health and watch him get staggered, this is the effect of playing a combo-based character. Brute down basically in just a little more than 2 biotic explosions. And brutes are no slouch on health. It's really powerful overall. And even though the Banshee's got her power shield up, it still doesn't stop the detonations from hurting her. And the big thing to remember about the Banshees is that they're only really dangerous when they're teleporting. When they're teleporting, they'll get in close and do their sync kill. Other than that, they're not that threatening. So once they stop teleporting, you don't have to worry too much about them anymore. They will shoot that projectile at you, which is the reason I was missing a health bar. But that's the only... And they've also got the AoE blast that they'll do. But they walk very slowly. And they don't really do much else. They sync kill and they charge. So once she stops charging, you're pretty good to go. Time to bring her down. Brutes and Ravagers, I think, are a bit more dangerous overall. And speaking of Ravager, but this build's also very good at Ravagers too. The explosions will take out clusters of swarmers in addition to doing a ton of damage to the Ravager itself. And he's in there working on that thing. Here we go. Perfect example to show the build against a Ravager. Would you see the amount of health it takes away from him? I don't think there were any swarmers in that one, because I didn't actually shoot him. I didn't break the egg sacs. And as long as you don't break the egg sacs, there's no swarmers. Although the swarmers aren't the biggest problem, they really just stop your shields from regenerating. Which I find fantastically annoying.
Enemies down. Good shooting. Enemy is regrouping.
Yeah, I don't even think that guy has warp. I think he's just got throw. Throw can actually get the detonation bonus too, I believe, but I don't think he can prime a combo, so he probably didn't take the detonation bonus. Whereas I'm priming and detonating my own combos. These sorts of things can also be really good for a coordinated team as well. if one of you just mashes the primer and another person mashes the detonator, you can get one of these detonations going every couple seconds. I also really like that because I'm power-based, I'm not restricted by ammunition. And now she's walking. Easy kill. Or she's teleporting in, whatever. And this bug happens sometimes. Ah, shit. She functions the same, you just can't see her, which is kind of annoying. But manageable. The PC version feels very much like a port of the console, and it comes with a lot of the console port problems. What's going on over here?
Fine work, team. Enemy is regrouping. Time to reload.
And those little achievement pop-ups will probably give you an idea of how much I've been playing this. Which is to say, not too terribly much since I got it on PC, but I played a ton on console. Of course, none of that carried over. But what are you gonna do? You can actually aim at targets outside of the reticle range. If you get them in the dead center, the projectile will still track them like that. It can be a bit touchy though. I don't appreciate you dodging the spells. It's also possible to arc the projectiles around corners, which is another useful trick. I might have done that a few times. I don't really think about it anymore. But it's a pretty useful trick if you need to get somebody hiding behind cover. A lot of the times I just throw Singularity at the cover, and if they hide behind it, they'll take damage or get grabbed by it. Singularity overall is one of the better powers, I think. It offers crowd control, solid damage, that sort of thing. Really lovely. Generally speaking, unless you see one of the big things, like banshees or brutes, if there's already a couple people attacking it, you don't need to join in. You'll see hobbies do that all the goddamn time, but you don't need to. It's generally handled, unless your team is incompetent, which happens sometimes, but isn't the usual case. Usually people can handle one or two big guys or almost an unlimited number of smaller things. So I'm gonna take care of this Ravager, then I'm gonna go help with that Banshee. attention to the silhouette when I ran around that corner. Yeah, AoE spells in general are extremely useful against Ravagers. Puppies always end up shooting the sacks, and so you'll find big piles of swarmers running around. And they're not, like I said, they're not that bad, but if they don't get addressed, then, like anything else, they get out of hand pretty quickly. I don't think that's gonna happen. It did track. Send another one over that way. Let's see what we got going on over here. Oh, 2 Banshees. 2 Banshees are worth a missile. And I'd like to play the higher difficulty levels, but you can't generally get a group for anything above silver. I think it starts to get too hard for the run around all day and chase the enemy playstyle, and it stops working out for people. Like, you see how often people go down here. I went down once, but I think this EXE guy's gone down 3 or 4 times already. Yeah, I can't get over there, there's too many things in the way. But that guy's about to have a bad day. I don't see why he would have run down there. That doesn't make any sense. That was like just a terrible decision. Now see, he's stealthed. That would have been a perfect time for him to get out of there. And instead he decided to reload and throw a grenade. I just don't understand puppies.
Shuttle inbound. Rendezvous for extraction.
Here you go. Shit. Suddenly there's a surprise banshee. Damn it. Tried to dodge it, but I failed. Lovely. And then you can see, after the detonation isn't quite enough to kill these marauders, but after the detonation their health is low enough that they get grabbed by the Singularity and killed by its damage. And that's one of the reasons I buffed the Singularity's damage too. That guy go. Seconds. I actually waited longer for that than I would have liked. But hey, what are you gonna do? And so that's basically how you play the Singularity Warp Biotic Exploder. So thank you for joining me, and I hope you tune in next time.